What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the drive shaft flex disc and center support bearing on this BMW E46. Please stay tuned and enjoy. Now we're going to start by dropping the exhaust down. You can get the drive shaft out without taking the exhaust completely out. You can just drop all the hangers down and let the exhaust hang down a bit. You have enough flex to maneuver the drive shaft out of there. Don't forget to disconnect this vacuum line for the exhaust. Now you can see I got one mount here with two nuts, one mount here with two nuts.
These nuts.
Then you got two braces here. This, the rear brace has two nuts for the exhaust mount. I'll show you. These exhaust mounts go into this brace, and then this one's just a standard brace with 4 bolts. The next thing we're gonna do is take out this heat shield. It's just held in by a bunch of 10mm. Now with the heat shield out of the way, we can get on all of our drive shaft bolts. Before we take this drive shaft out, you're gonna wanna get on this bolt here. It's a normal bolt, just turn it counterclockwise. It's an 18mm, and because we're gonna have to separate this part of the drive shaft once we get it out. So just make sure you get it loose now, because it's a lot easier to get it loose now than later. Now we're going to shift the transmission into neutral so that we can spin the drive shaft around, get on all the bolts. Next, we're going to remove these bolts on the rear of the drive shaft. This is for the rear CV joint. Next, we're gonna remove these two for the drive shaft center support bearing. Once those are loose, you can pull down on the drive shaft. There we go. You can get a pry bar up in behind the guibo and just pry it down, and then the drive shaft will start to fall down like that. Once you got the drive shaft out, we're going to mark the front shaft in relation to the rear shaft. Now we're going to finish removing that 18mm from earlier. You just need an 18mm wrench to get on it. Keep turning it till it comes off. And once you get your bolt completely loose, the drive shaft just separates. Now we're going to take a pry bar and go on the inner part of the bearing and give it a few taps. Start coming off. There you go. Don't forget your spacer. Here's a new one. As you can see, it can go 2 ways. This side with the flange here goes facing forward. And to install the new one, just slide it on the shaft here. And you're gonna take a punch and a hammer, and you're gonna hammer on this inner ring here. Make sure to only hit the inner ring. This will not damage the bearing. If you hit the cage, this will damage the bearing. Don't forget, this requires insulating compound, so make sure you install some on the new one. Here's an example of the punch I'm going to use. Just walk it back and forth. Make sure you're hitting it on even. Doesn't take a lot of force to install these. Now we're gonna install our spacer. Rotate this around, find our balance mark. Rotate this around, find our balance mark. And we're gonna put them together. Don't forget to tighten up our bolt. Just get it as tight as you can now. Once you reinstall it on the vehicle, put it in park, drive shaft connected, everything, then you can do your final tightening. Now we're gonna swap over our guibo, Finish up loosening these. And one just goes on like that. Just like that, the drive shaft is ready to reinstall.